Hi everyone, if you're new here, my name is Brendan, and if you're not new here, this is going to be kind of a different video than what I've posted on my channel in the past. Today's video is going to be about the Jenkins and not about Teen Mom. Now, if you don't know the Jenkins, they go by the Resilient Jenkins on TikTok, or I like to call them the Not So Resilient Jenkins, and there's a lot of lore with them. So, without further ado, let's get into this. So, the Not So Resilient Jenkins kind of got big around last October, I want to say, and they got big for having a one-bedroom apartment. And Drew and Stephanie, they were living in the one bedroom and had their kids out sleeping in the living room and kitchen. And they were sleeping on dirty, moldy mats with kitty litter all over the ground next to them. Around this time, Stephanie was still pregnant, so they were a family of 6 that went into a family of 7. Now, around February or March, I want to say, they got evicted from their apartment for non-payment of rent. Mind you, she makes a bunch of money from social media, and it's been proven. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the court that just happened yesterday and today. So, May 28th and May 29th. Now, we're going to get into Drew's baby mamas. Now, there is Arita. She has full custody of one of his kids, and he refuses to pay child support for that kid. And then we have Desiree. That is Deshawn's mom, his oldest son's mom, and he basically alienated her from Deshawn. So Arita gave an update about court because she was there May 28th because her and Desiree, they're on good terms, like they're there for each other. And then for May 29th, one of Desiree's friends gave an update about court. So we're gonna watch both of those videos and see how that went. So let's get into this.
Let's talk about it, because I want to know, what were you going to do if you was there at the courthouse? I want to know, what were you going to say to me and Desiree? You weren't going to say anything, just like him. Scary. Had his head down the whole time, especially when I went on the stand. You pray to God that they're going to, God uses my mouth. And you want to say we buddy up. Yeah, I'm in her corner. I'm in her corner. I'm going to be in Desiree's corner. Are you mad? Are you mad? Because who did you think was going to be in Andrew's corner? Not his mama. Not his sisters. Since he only wants to claim one, he has 2 sisters. What were you going to say? What were you going to do? Nothing. Just like he wasn't going to do nothing but sit there and hang his head low in shame. Couldn't even look at me or Desiree. especially when I testified. So what were you going to do? What were you going to do, Stephanie? What were you going to do? I would love to know what you were going to do. And you want to sit on live and have subscriber only and try to talk about it. What were you going to do? Oh, let me show you guys how he dressed for court today. Yeah. Yeah. That's how he dressed today for court. What were you going to do? What were you going to do? He walked right past me. He had to go and tell. He had to go tell you what was going on. He was crying to you on the phone. What was he going to do? What were you going to do? I'm still baffled. What were you going to do? That's what I want to know. Look at him. You know what I've been praying on? Deshaun goes home with his mom. Yeah. Oh yeah, and the judge accepted all our exhibits. Yeah. Everything I printed off for Desiree, she accepted. Yeah. So you better hope when he goes back tomorrow, he has a real good reason why he has alienated Deshaun from his mama. Why you want to sit up here talking about we buddy. Oh girl, you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, the judge had to tell him to take his hoodie off, his hoodie and hat off before she entered. Do you think she took kindly to his demeanor in the courtroom? You better leave us alone. You better leave us alone. You better leave us alone. One thing's for sure and two things for certain. God ain't never played about me in my mouth. And I'm the advocate standing up for Desiree. And she has another advocate who is appointed in the county of Monoma County as her advocate in this situation. So again, that man better walk up in there tomorrow and have a real legitimate reason on why he kept Deshaun from his mom. Because I'm still baffled on what you thought you was going to do if you came to the courthouse and you saw me. That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. What were you going to do? Was you going to try to walk up to me? Nah. You would have been just as pussy as him. You know, when I got on the stand and the judge asked him, do you have any questions for her? And he said, no. So again, what were you going to do? What were you going to do? Oh, wait. The judge wasn't going to let you speak unless he appointed you as a witness, which he didn't. So I want to know, what were you going to do? I'm waiting for that answer. Because you're not about to do anything but sit on the internet and keep digging your guys' self a hole. A whole hole. Did I fail to mention she accepted our exhibits of evidence? Get that? You get that? Yeah. She accepted our exhibits. All 17. What you gonna say? I'm still baffled. What are you gonna do? I want to answer. What are you gonna do? What were you going to do? What were you gonna say? To me. Or to Desiree. What were you gonna say? One thing's for sure, two things for certain. You're not about that life, so what were you gonna say? I want to know. That's my question for you today. What were you going to do? Nothing. Walk past like he did. He walked right past. Couldn't even look at me. Couldn't even look at Desiree. But he called you to say, they're here. They're both here. They're ganging up on me. Oh my God, somebody help me. Girl, you would have walked into a ring of fire. You wouldn't want to see me in person. That's one thing you wouldn't want to see. It's me in person. Because I was already shaking and hot. I wanted to smack him upside the back of his head. That's what I wanted to do. But I had to be cute and demure. But yeah. We'll see what happens. And God knows where Deshaun needs to be. And it's not with y'all.
Now, one thing for sure, Arita stands on business, and she'll be giving us all the facts, and she's gonna have her laughs with it. Now, we're gonna go into Desiree's friend, who had posted an update since Desiree can't really post an update, so let's see what she has to say.
Okay, lucky for you guys, traffic's terrible, so I can do this. So it's basically what I predicted, which is the judge was very concerned about, and she kept kind of doing this thing, like she doesn't want to just pick him up and take him from what he knows and plop him into Desiree's life, which is what I've been saying. Like, I knew that was coming. So Drew's a terrible historian, like terrible, and that judge is very extremely patient. So he could not answer a question to save his life. Like, you would ask him a question and he would just wiggle worm all around it. It was really ridiculous. Side note, he was asked to spell Manova's name and he could not do it. But that also could be part, you know, he had just some very odd behavior. I did ask Desiree about it because it was odd. And she told me he never used to be like that. But like at one point he said, I got to get out of here. And the judge was typing the order and she like looked up and she was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I got to get out of here. I get really restless or something like that. And he's like, I hit my limit. And she's like, okay, well, I also need you to stay because I'm about to give you this order that you need to follow. There were just these weird things like that. I kind of got a vibe. It was like neurodiversity, but it was very odd. Okay. But what happened? So, the judge wants Desiree to write Deshaun a letter. And they have a visit set up. It is not this week, but it is in the near future. It is for 2 hours at a neutral place, but the judge, of course, put in the traditional language of, you know, if he tires or, you know, wants to be done, he can be done. But she also put in a lot of language about that if they want to expand, they can also expand. The visits can be longer. The visits can be, she even said, like, if Desiree wants to take him to a movie, she can take him to a movie. And I actually asked, and I said, are there any limits on what Desiree can do? And she said, nope. So, like, if her and Drew were able to agree that Deshaun and her were getting along super great, and Deshaun was going to stay the night at her house over the weekend, they could agree to that, and the judge is totally fine with that. In fact, she encouraged it. So she's just forcing these baby steps because she has to give some kind of milestone, right? So she is having them come back in early July to make sure that this is going well, because I think she got the impression Drew was very, 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 very hesitant to agree that he was going to cooperate. And the judge was very, very, very flexible, giving him multiple opportunities, rephrasing it, and trying to get him to understand that he doesn't really have a choice in the matter. And so he better get on board. So she has that date in the near future set up so that she can check on his progress. And what was especially interesting, I would say, is that she said that Stephanie can, that Drew needs to tell Stephanie. Of course, she can't like order Stephanie specifically because Stephanie is not that, she's not named in the order. But it was something like Drew needs to, well, the traditional language of disparaging language is in there. So no parent can disparage the other within earshot or around Deshawn, okay? And then she also specifically put in there that Drew needed to tell Stephanie to not post anything about Desiree or Deshawn. So we'll see if that happens. But there was a lot of excuse making on Drew's part, which was just really odd to me, where he would say like they were trying to coordinate a day and Desiree was being very flexible about a visit. So flexible, in fact, she wasn't even available that day, but she was trying to be so flexible that she said she would do it. And he said like, oh, well, Sundays aren't good because that's like our cleaning reset day. Okay, dude, like, what? And then it was just weird. And that's where the judge was just very patient, and I feel like she should have been like, sir, you do not have a job. You should be able to make this work if this works for Deshawn. But she was very patient, okay? So he had every excuse in the book. Desiree did a great job of questioning him, and Drew had said earlier that Desiree never tried to reach out, and then when Desiree questioned him, she said, I've been to your house, I tried calling you, I tried texting you, and he had said his number never changed. And then when she questioned him, he was like, oh, well, my number changed the last time I got this phone, so maybe. And oh, people knock on the door. And the judge was like, did you not answer when she knocked on the door? And he was like, I didn't even get up to see who was there. But it wasn't that, like, his responses were not that normal. His responses were very long and very wordy and a little bit not saying anything, but saying all the things. So, bless Desiree. Bless her. And Arita, if she ever had to deal with him for long, and I suppose bless Stephanie, I would get very frustrated having to deal with a person like that all the time. If I had to try to co-parent with somebody like that, that would drive me bananas. So he full on threw himself under the bus about talking to Deshawn about all the things, and the judge told him that that's not appropriate and told him to knock that off. So I would say Drew was pretty well schooled, okay? I don't know how much he heard. He seemed to be kind of not paying attention. I mean, there was a lot of like, I'm sorry, what did you say? And like, oh, I think I'm busy that day. And just this strange disconnect. I don't know. I don't know what it was. But so I suspect he didn't hear the majority of what was being told to him. So I think that the only things that he can be held to are in the order. So I told Desiree when we left that I think it is likely that he is going to screw this up one way or another, or Stephanie will screw this up by posting something, or making excuses, or anyway. I can't imagine that this is going to go smoothly. There was a little bit of glimpse at the end there where he shared a picture of Deshawn to Desiree on his phone, and the judge was like, oh, I love this. See, this is what I want you guys to be, back to how you used to be able to co-parent. And so I kind of got a glimpse of like what it probably was like before Stephanie came in. I have no idea why Stephanie is controlling him to that level. Oh, he even said that at one point. He even said they asked him for like his address and his email and like something else, and he was like, okay, excuse me, wait one moment. And he like put his head down, and he must have been looking on his phone. It took him a really long time. And he said, oh, the reason I don't know these things is because they aren't mine. And so I get it. Like I'm responsible for my household's like, stuff. But I could pretty much tell that the email that was provided is straight to Stephanie, and then he said it is. And he also even said Stephanie's the one who gets all the communications from the teachers. So that's weird. We'll work on it. But that's the update for now. Baby steps. Desiree's certainly not in trouble. And she has done nothing wrong, and that was very clear. But the judge just has to take it very slow. Okay, that's it. Let me know your questions.
Now that makes me very, very, very happy for Desiree, especially with the fact that we all know that Drew and Stephanie are gonna mess it up. They're gonna mess it up, and Desiree is gonna end up getting a huge, huge win from this, as we all were hoping. So now it does suck that the other kids are gonna have to stay there. However, hopefully something will come to light and those kids will be saved, because those kids are not safe there, and it's very clear. But if you guys did like this video, make sure you guys give a big thumbs up, and I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year, so if you can, please subscribe. But as always, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments.